Section 2 is going to briefly cover the 3 different mediums most composers write their pieces on and demonstrate a few different examples of composed pieces with various genres and ensembles. Manuscripts are one of the earliest forms of keeping record of musical ideas. They date back to around 600 AD with Pope Gregory I, who collected and codified Gregorian chant. Here is a full-size orchestral template on paper. Notice there are no bar numbers, clefs, time signatures, and only a few instrument names. Composers usually establish their own stave system and instrument groupings that work best for them. Some manuscripts have a prearranged list of instruments, like this example. While this is a great time saver, it assumes you'll be using a standard orchestral arrangement and doesn't leave much room for anything else. Jazz or small ensemble manuscripts look slightly different. This example is in landscape orientation and has fewer staves. The lack of instrument names lets you decide on your own ensemble. Here is a regular-sized paper manuscript that most composers would sketch on. The examples here include songs, solo piano pieces, and other sketches. In a following lesson, we are going to focus mainly on the 3-stave system. The top stave will likely contain the main melody. The middle stave would then contain the harmonic accompaniment, often expressed in chords. And finally, the bottom stave would contain the bass line. Sometimes a combination of both regular-sized paper and large score work the best. In this example, I sketched out a timing template with basic melodic shape before I started scoring on full-sized manuscript. Digital scores in Sibelius, Finale, or other programs can be set up in almost any way to perfectly suit the customization of your writing preferences. Here are a few examples of scores I made in Finale and Sibelius that show some different ensembles. The first example is from the 6th movement of Dr. John Burge's choir piece Magnificat in the digital score editor Finale. Some good things about Finale is you can place notes, rests, or dynamics however you want with little to no restrictions. This is beneficial when you need a score that requires that sort of notation, but can be very tricky when you don't. At times, I found that snapping objects quickly or ensuring notes lined up properly was difficult. With that being said, Sibelius is my digital score of choice. The first example here is a solo piano piece I composed. Sibelius is also easily capable of small ensembles. This is a piece from composer Dan Romer and was used in one of his films. This is a short jazz piece I did for a mixed ensemble of flute, horn, bass trombone, and piano. Part extraction is especially easy. Simply hit the corresponding hotkey, in this case W, and Sibelius automatically creates a part for that instrument. Sibelius is also great for big orchestral scores as well. Unfortunately, one issue with part extraction for staves with multiple parts on them is that you have to have another score that has each instrument on its own line, which I saved in another session. We can see here that the part is messy and contains both parts and not the individual instrument's part. This score is my solution to that problem. I have each instrument on their own stave. And now the parts look great. Regardless of the end ensemble, I like to set up my sketch template with 3 staves, similar to the paper and pen method. In this way, I can express the overall music direction without worrying too much about the details. Here is that 3-stave system for the orchestral piece we just saw. And finally, here is a quick snapshot of my orchestral setup in my DAW of choice, Digital Performer. You can see that the session is laid out like a traditional score would be, with flutes at the top, brass in the middle, percussion, and then the string section. If I am going to be starting a composition on my DAW, I like to follow the 3-stave method, except in a DAW you are able to have different MIDI piano tracks for every stave. This gives me really good flexibility when sketching out ideas, easier playback than on a digital score, and especially easier than a paper score. This is what the 3-stave system sounds like as a mock-up. And this is what the entire score ended up sounding like. I hope that these select examples gave you a broad idea of a few different mediums composers write on. Hopefully one of these 3 will resonate with you and help you express and share the music that is in your mind. This lesson has given a broad overview and understanding of some important questions to ask before embarking on starting a brand new piece. Your first assignment is to apply the knowledge gained and figure out the purpose, genre, ensemble, and what medium you are going to write on. In later lessons, we are going to expand upon your decisions, so make sure you put some thought into it and are prepared to start.